is Lucy. This is my first vlog, so I thought I would start with a brief self-introduction. I'm currently a first-year electrical engineering student at the University of Toronto in Canada. In my free time, I like to watch sci-fi movies and journaling. And that brings us to the topic of today's video, in which I'll show you guys how I organize my schoolwork with bullet journal. In my final 2 months of high school, when I had already got my offer, I started to look up time management tools because I heard from senior students that time management is one big challenge in college. Then I ran into this cool idea of bullet journaling, and then I started the whole journey. First, let's talk about what is bullet journal. From Wikipedia, bullet journal is a method of personal organization developed by designer Ryder Carroll. The system organizes scheduling, reminders, to-do lists, brainstorming, and other organizational tasks into a simple notebook. The name bullet journal comes from the use of abbreviated bullet points to log information, but it also partially comes from the use of dot journals, which are gridded using dots rather than lines. At first, I followed artist and YouTuber Amanda Richley to create my first few monthly setups. I'll leave the link to her channel in the description box below. The main reason why I wanted to use a physical journal instead of a digital planning system is that whenever I got my phone, I tend to open social media and start scrolling. Even when I'm using my laptop, I still have a tendency to open YouTube. Now, without further ado, let's go and see the details of my bullet journal. And a note here, the following examples are chosen all across my bullet journal because some of them don't look very good on the camera, so I only chose the good-looking ones. Before the start of each semester, I would take a day and write down all course information into my bullet journal. As you can see on the left, I did a timetable that showed all my time slots for lectures, tutorials, and labs. A reminder here that if you request any course changes or timetable changes, make sure all your changes are made before coloring this timetable. If you are not using erasable pens or markers, this tip is especially important because you wouldn't want to do the entire table again. Not gonna lie, but this is one drawback of this hand-drawn timetable. In first year, we have 6 courses in each semester, so I gave 1 page to each course, as you can see from the right. On the front side, I have all the contact information here, like prof name, their emails, TA's name, and their emails. The most important part is the marking scheme. Whenever I'm preparing for an assessment, I can refer to this page and see how much each assessment is worth. At the bottom of the page, I'll write down if there's any special instructions regarding assignment or tests. If there's any room left, I'll do some decorations. This is totally customizable. You can find a lot of posts online that teaches you how to decorate your bullet journal spreads. Then let's move on to monthly spreads. At the beginning of each month, I always draw a cover page. The theme is related to what's actually happening in that month. For example, in October 2020, I drew a fall-themed cover page, which signals the upcoming fall. I really love mushrooms, so I also drew some of those. Then I have a monthly calendar for me to write down any due dates and meeting times. If you look more closely, red is for due dates and black is for meetings and appointments. For the remaining white space, I did a bit of decoration using washi tapes and stickers. Next, I have a habit tracker. Here I wrote down 4 habits that I want to track. Here I'm using the April 2021 habit tracker as an example. As you know, December and April are final exam seasons, which means we are the most busy during this time. Then it becomes more important to track some healthy habits. Also, a shout out to everyone. Don't forget to take care of yourself when you are busy with your work/schoolwork. On the next page, I have a mood tracker, but let's save that for later in this video and jump to the main part. Now we are finally at the heart of this bullet journal, weekly spread. Every week, I reserve 2 pages for a weekly spread, where I wrote down the specific task for each day. This is week 13, the final week of classes in 2021 winter semester. Exams were right after this, so my weekly spread was really full. At the top of the left page, I have the heading of the week, which is week 13. Then for each day, I had the date. Here I'm using washi tapes, but you can also do all kinds of numbering by hand. Beside my date is my weekly tasks. On the Sunday night of week 12, I would finish the structure of this layout and started to fill in tasks that I already know what I have to do. For example, I know for ECE 110 Electrical Fundamentals, I have to review all my notes because this exam was on Tuesday of week 14. Notice here that I didn't write review notes, but instead I broke down this larger text into 7 pieces for these 7 days. For each day, I'm reviewing approximately one chapter. Also for this course, I have to finish 12 assignment questions by Saturday night. So on Sunday night of week 12, I planned ahead for this. I assigned about 2 to 3 questions for each day, so that I can finish all the questions by Friday night by my estimation. This gives me 24 hours of buffer time. If I got stuck on one question, I still have time to ask for help. I find this kind of planning really helpful because A, I don't forget any of my assignments or tests. I always have a few days or a week to work on the assignment or prepare for a test, so that I don't have to rush 2 hours before it's due. And B, it gives me a mental relief. As I mentioned before, I felt a lot of pressure from the environment and schoolwork, so I've been trying different ways of relieving stress. By planning ahead, I can have a peaceful mind regarding the deadlines and due dates. At the end of every month, I also have a separate page for a monthly reflection where I write down my thoughts for the month, but I'm not going to share them in this video because it contains some personal information. Now let's get back to the mood tracker. As your schoolwork gets more intense, it becomes even more important to look after your mental health. This pandemic has already put a lot of mental pressure on all of us. Now schoolwork is another source of stress. Here I drew 30 different shapes of leaves for 30 days in April. I can literally only came up with 4 shapes, but the rest come from Google. At the bottom right corner, I have a legend. Darker green is for happy, lighter green is for okay, and yellow is for negative emotions. I got this idea of using darker color for happy days from Amanda Richley's video. Now that I look back at it, the darker green really stands out, and it triggers all my positive memories with that month, and that's exactly what I want from this mood tracker. Another use of this mood tracker is to remind yourself to have a positive mindset. After coloring the leaves for a few days, you start to see a pattern of colors. Is it all darker green? Is the majority yellow? The color pattern can actually reflect your mindset of the month. Towards the latter half of the month, if you see a lot of yellow leaves on your journal, you may want to think back and figure out what really caused you to have a bad day, and then find out ways to try to have a better mindset. In this online learning environment, I pay extra attention to my mental health, and I'm so glad to see that most of my leaves are green. At the bottom of the page, I wrote an inspiring quote, which says, "It's okay to be a glow stick. Sometimes we need to break before we shine." That was triggered by one of the labs from my coding class, which was APS 105, Computer Fundamentals. The last lab was very hard, and I wrote a lot of codes, but I didn't pass the auto marker. I was so depressed during those days, and I thought I would be doomed in exams. Then I told myself I had done 8 great labs before. Only lab 9 wasn't very great. This one failure can't diminish all my work in this semester. I thought this quote really reflects my mindset at that time, and I would like to give this quote to everyone who's watching this video right now, that one failure can't define you. In some special occasions, I'll dedicate a whole extra page for it. On the left, I did a quote page for Thanksgiving. I wanted to remind me that I need to be grateful for everything I already have now, and not just focus on what I want to get in the future. I feel like sometimes I just take it for granted without actually thinking about what my life would be without them. On the right, I did a special page for my exams in 2021 winter semester. Here are some notes I left for myself. Those are about personal care and stress management. All my schoolwork planning goes to weekly stress like I showed earlier. My takeaways from the exam season is that the exams are not just about knowledge you learn from classes. It's also about how you manage your time effectively to prepare for it, and what's your mindset going into the exam. Up until this point, my bullet journal has become more than just a planning tool. It also incorporates monthly reflection, semester reflection, habit tracking, and mindset tracking. Plus, decorating my bullet journal is also a stress-relieving method that works for me. Bullet journal has become such a powerful tool for me and hopefully can bring some insights to your time management system. And that's it for today's video, and see you next time.